What's up, everyone? It's your host, Xavier Smith, here for another episode of our Pay Attention podcast. Today, we're here with Miss Thashā Uche.
Yes.
Okay,
wow,
perfect.
That's impressive.
Yes, ma'am. And so today, we're going to be in Houston, Texas. We want to shout out to Post Houston for allowing us to shoot this interview. But the second thing is, we're going to be talking about her business, being a woman in business, and of course success as a whole going into 2023. But first, can you give them some information where they can follow you out on social media platforms?
Absolutely. Facebook, Huff Puff Events, Instagram, Huff Puff Events, Twitter. Well, we're actually not on Twitter anymore, but we are on Snapchat, Huff Puff Events, and TikTok, of course. Huff Puff Events, across the board, same thing. And then my personal is at Hey Thashā, spelled Heythasha.
Okay, cool, perfect. So this episode of Pay Attention, we want to talk about, of course, business. One reason why I do this is to actually highlight minority success in the business community.
Yes,
when we look at our community, we look at our people, a lot of things we look at as success are entertainment, sports, or in the hustling world, which is something that's good or true, but that's not the case for everyone.
So many other options. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so we want to highlight the success that people are making, both men and women, in their entrepreneurial journey of becoming a business owner, or becoming a boss, and of course on creating a circulation of economics in their community.
Yes.
Right? Huff Puff Events.
Absolutely.
Your brand, your business. We're going to dive more into it,
awesome.
You know, but this is what we're here to talk about.
Cool.
Lit. Okay, perfect. So my first question, we're going to dive right into it.
All right, let's get to it.
Okay, so where are you from originally, and what was that environment like growing up as a kid?
I am originally from Kansas City, Missouri, not Kansas. Kansas City, Missouri. Growing up for me, like early on in my childhood, I grew up in the projects, really rough. A lot of exposure to realities that many people from, I guess, that socioeconomic status experience. For me, family was really important for me, so I never really had much hardship, but being an adult and knowing what my parents were going through, trying to raise 3 children very young, like I understand that was probably a rough for them, I should say. And then, you know, we kind of eventually moved out, and I grew up again. I have a very, very, very large family in Kansas City, Missouri, so very close-knit family, tons of cousins. And so a very happy childhood. I think education played a really important role for me because unlike other family members that I have, I kind of took more of a higher academic pace when it comes to education, and so that kind of led me down a different avenue that I would say I would give a lot of credit to for my success that I experienced today. I had tons of exposure that kind of took me out of Kansas City, and came across so many people that broadened my horizon when it came to opportunities that exist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay. So going to Kansas City, I know it's more Kansas City, like you said. Was it more of a suburb? Was it more of a city?
Oh, city for sure.
Okay, definitely.
Real rough.
Okay.
I was pretty much exposed to it all growing up, which was a great thing. You know, it's kind of where my hustler mentality comes from.
Okay.
You know, I understood that it's going to take, we're going to have to put in the work, you know, to get what you want out of it, but also just being exposed to the streets makes you streetwise, you know. It allows you to see the world from a different perspective, man. If you know,
as a young woman growing up, now you continued from Kansas City, Missouri. Now you're in Houston, Texas. What are some of the biggest things you overcame just in life going into those times?
Man, so much. You know, when growing up in Kansas City, like there were so many avenues that I could have went down that may not have landed me where I am today. I think some of the greatest things that I overcome is just the mindset. Okay. You know, I'm coming from a small town where, you know, like you said, there's only people present you with only a few options on how to come up, whether it be hair or nails or athletics, or, you know, and so like that's what you're presented with. And for me, I actually had an opportunity to go to a college prep school, so that exposed me to the avenue of college.
Okay.
And then
some heads up, like more advanced, getting ahead.
Absolutely, I was definitely first generation college student, not really knowing what I was doing in college, but very much energized and excited about pursuing that.
What are some hobbies that you were interested in high school and then going into college?
I actually, in high school, I wasn't involved in high school because I was working. You know, my mom was a single mom. My parents divorced when I was around 9 or 10. And so my mom was a single mom raising 3 kids, working 2 jobs, sometimes 3 jobs.
Okay.
I started braiding hair when I was 12 years old. And I would be braiding hair. Like, I was making some money, you know, even young, braiding hair. And that's kind of how another thing that contributes to my hustle spirit and more of like entrepreneurial spirit. Like, I learned early on that I could make money on my own using skills.
Okay, cool. What are some, when people work with you, you know, people get a chance to have a conversation with you, what do you feel like are some characteristics that you give off about yourself?
I'm very open, very creative. I try to listen more than I give input. I am very patient. I think a lot of people speak to my patience, and that's kind of more of like a personality trait that I have. I feel like through patience you can learn so much. And then I'm just integrity. Like, if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up for people. And then I think that one of my greatest qualities is I'm a champion. Like, I love seeing people thrive. I love supporting people in their journeys, their personal journeys.
Okay. So when we talk about Huff Puff Events, you know, when did you make the change to go from a 9 to 5? Did you work a job? And what was it like saying I want to be an entrepreneur now?
As I said, I've kind of always known in my heart that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I understood that working a 9 to 5 and taking the education route, even higher education route, was going to be a stepping stone to that. And so, like, because you have to educate yourself, you have to know. And it's also a discovery. You got to know who you are and what you want out of life. And I feel like taking a higher education route and working a 9 to 5, it kind of helps you build that structure you need to be able to be on the other side of that as an entrepreneur. I actually worked in education first. In higher education, I worked at Rice University. I worked at University of Houston as a graduate assistant.
Oh, wow.
Both of those were great experiences. They were great experiences. Exposed me to wonderful things. It definitely exposed me to the idea of you get out of life what you put into it. From there, I actually worked in finance and stock. I'm actually a licensed broker. And so I worked with TD Ameritrade, I worked with SkyTrade, I worked with Charles Schwab, even Charles Schwab.
Ooh, okay, we gotta do some talking about the stocks. Okay.
And before, before I swapped over to do Huff and Puff full time, I was working as a bonds trader assistant, and so I was on the institutional side of trading. So I'm one of those people, like, I've been around. I've been around.
Nah, facts.
And it's so funny, is one of those cool things is that people say all the time, like, don't be a quitter, don't be a quitter. And I'm one of those people, like, be a quitter. Do it.
Right.
Until it works for you.
That's a good one. Okay.
And then quit when you're ready to.
That's good.
And it's like when your body is telling you, when your mind and your spirit is telling you it's time to pivot, it's time to pivot. Quit. Be a quitter.
Because a lot of our pay attention followers, they're actually college students or out of college, and they're either investors or they're aspiring to be business owners. So a lot of them taking from this, okay, but she used to be in stocks. I have a lot of stock traders, crypto traders, option traders, forex traders. So it's crazy to see that you took that path and you still decided to go into creating your own path.
And all of it still to this day, like, I apply it to my business. It's so funny. That's why I said try it and be a quitter. Okay. Try it until it no longer works for you and then quit.
That's lit. I got you. That's the first time I heard someone put it like that. That's lit. Okay, cool. Well, let's talk Huff and Puff Events.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, cool. So how did you find your way into it? Like, that must be a task when you're working with people. You have to be on the phone. You have to make calls, important decisions. You know, so how does that tie into your purpose and what you do on a daily basis?
Yeah, so I started from the bottom. I actually started with doing like family events, events for my son. I have a son, a 7-year-old son, where I started just doing his events and decided that, like, okay, I do balloons. I started out doing balloons. I'm like, okay, this is something where I can kind of explore entrepreneur. You know, even it was supposed to be like something that I did on the side. And what I started out doing is just doing balloons, practicing and refining my craft, just even at home. Like, I would challenge myself every weekend. Like, I'm going to do 2 garlands or set up 2 little, you know. And I did that.
For a client?
Yeah, absolutely. Because
The Reels.
Instagram was a thing, and so
Okay.
I told myself that I was gonna fill up all of the pages. All of the squares on Instagram, and so people can literally scroll twice.
Wow.
It was a tiny goal, and it's so crazy that quickly turned into people booking me.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's lit. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So that just goes to show how some ideas you may think are crazy are actually some ideas you can invest in as an individual.
Absolutely, and think about it. It's like it's just those baby steps. When you're thinking about what the bigger goal is, you got to focus on the small steps, and before you know it, you'll be there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're a black business owner.
Yeah.
So as we talk about being in the community, we want black businesses to invest in black businesses so we can empower the black community, so we can have more of a voice, we can have more of an appeal, we can have more impact on what we do, how we do it, and how much money we make and how we spend it.
Yeah.
You know, why do you think that black businesses choose to work against their community as opposed to working together, and how can we solve their problem as to building wealth within our community?
Yeah, I personally don't think that black people are intentionally working against each other. I feel like before people know it, their egos and competition become something that is to the detriment of it. I feel like sometimes you run into the issue of people wanting you to do good and people wanting you to do your best as long as it's not better than them.
Wow.
And then that later translate into us going against each other rather than working together.
Placing limitations on friends or business or ideas.
Yeah, and it just may be kind of what we know and how us trying to compare it to other things, maybe like athletes and things like that, they have to compete each other until be greatest, but it's like that doesn't really translate when it comes to entrepreneurs or even just building a community.
And to a certain extent, they may battle, but they also have fun because they understand it's for them both to get better in the end.
I think that sometimes we see it, but we don't see the grander scheme of things. I feel like we need more of a meta view of things like that, because like you said, competition could work out for both of us if we see it that way.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Like we need to figure out how to maximize on competing with each other and refining each other's skills to be the best, but not to the detriment of our other black businesses.
Yeah. Okay, bet. So with that being said, when we talk about you being in business and we talk about growing mental health and becoming passive, right? 2023, that's going to be big. COVID, we're still getting results of COVID now. So
absolutely,
mental health is big. So when it comes from negative energy or people coming against you, how did you feel that? Were there any doubters? You know, what is it like taking that and fueling to make sure that you're doing what you need to do? My bad. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
What is it like taking that negative energy that people may give off or may not intentionally give, and how do you use that to your benefit?
Man, and one thing that I took away from my grandparents is, or just maybe I should say my spirituality, my religion, is grace. Like, you know, if somebody's coming at you with negative energy, I never take it personal. Like, I never see it as them coming to me personally. I always see it as misdirected energy, if that makes sense. And so I'm just naturally a more sympathetic person to some negative energy than I would be offended. Like, it doesn't offend me. It makes me feel like, I wonder what this person is going through that will make them see me as someone to target their negative energy toward. And so I think it's your perspective. I'm just one of those people, like, it's gonna take some hard work to get under my skin.
Yeah.
Because I might miss it, because I'm a Libra, so I try to see things from all perspectives. I'll try to find the balance in all of it all. And if you're intentionally coming at me, it's gonna take me a minute to realize that. And then I'm gonna be like, oh. And by that time, it's funny, it's hilarious, because you be like, you're putting in this work to give me the negative energy for whatever reason it may be. It's hard to offend me.
Okay. What are some habits or practices that you like to use to actually practice self-development or mental health fitness?
Man, staying active, really staying true to yourself, and just making sure that you're being intentional about your wants and needs. You know, I think it's really important, especially in this day and time. I'm a mother too. It's like, I have to make sure that while I'm doing so many things for other people, it's important to make sure that you're being as much of a champion for yourself and that you're staying focused on what your personal goals are. I think that's really important when it comes to mental health, because when you become consumed with others and their way of thinking and what they want, it's like it becomes overwhelming and you can't control that.
Okay, and you mentioning you're a mother.
Yeah.
Right, let's target this audience, because that must be a totally different concept.
Baby.
Whether you're in Houston, whether you're in Kansas, whether you're in LA, whether you're in New York. Right. What are some challenges that you face being a mom, being a woman, being a black woman, being a business owner, balancing? How do you stay focused in the midst of all that, at times chaos?
It's a balancing act. It's a balancing act. It's one of those things where you have to, you're almost immediately humble yourself and come to the realization that it's gonna take a village.
Okay.
You're gonna need help. You're gonna need people to step in. You're gonna have to be able to ask people for things that they may say no and understand that it's nothing personal. And so it's really a balancing act, and you just have to be patient and be diligent. And I feel like when people see that you're consistent and you're diligent and you're passionate and it's for a good cause, like, they're happy to help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so now Huff and Puff Events, what are some things that people can look for when they shout out, when they follow your page, when they're looking, what do people tend to come to you for when it comes to business that you can provide, services that you offer to help their experience be better?
Yeah, like, we love events. I love luxury events. I love doing all types of events, but the things I love the most is the luxurious things. Like, I love it. I love being able to take someone's idea and really specialize it and individualize it and make it something that has never been done before, or just something that they have seen before, but even better, and then they could imagine. Like, I really just help people in general bring their ideas to life, especially on the creative side of things. And we do balloons, we do private dinners, we do event planning. We pretty much do it all when it comes to creative. And I don't really like to box myself in, which is why I originally went from Huff and Puff Balloons to Huff and Puff Events, because I didn't want to be locked in.
You wanted to be able to
I want to be able to do something. I want to be able to do a rap concert, and I also want to be able to do the baby shower, and I also want to get in on somebody's wedding, and I want to, because I just see myself as being a creative across the board.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So just as a then and now, can you remind us of your first event and then one of your most recent events?
My first event was a 1-year-old birthday party. This little baby was so adorable too. Like, she rocked it, and it's so funny because it was my first event, and like the photos and things that I got from that event, they were like top tier. I was like, girl, you did that. And even now, and that was just a balloon garland. Right. Something as simple as just delivering a balloon garland, installing it for a 1-year-old birthday. She had a cute little chair, and that was really simple, really straightforward. And then I think two of my most recent events was doing a speaker event with Percy Miller. Mind blowing. Right.
That was lit, and that's how we actually came in contact. Can you explain that event and what you did with that event as well?
And so that was a really exciting project that one of my really good friends, Pilar, brought me on. She is the executive director with the Impact 13, which is a James Harden Foundation here in Houston, which supports the local Houston community. And it's especially the disadvantaged children in our community and mothers as well. He's definitely a really great advocate and supporter of women and children here in the local community. It's a beautiful thing. She brought me on to this project. They have a financial literacy program with Avoy Financial Capital. And what they do is they travel the nation. They're nationwide, and they travel university and institution educating people on ways that they could maximize the financial opportunities that exist for us, whether it be stock market, investing, and doing all of this thing, or just something as simple as knowing money and the options that you have when it comes to keeping it rather than spending it and investing it and growing it. And so they hosted Percy Miller, who in our community is known as a CEO. He's a genius,
a business owner, genius,
entrepreneur, top tier,
philanthropist, all of the above.
He's a blueprint for so many business owners, especially in the entertainment industry. And so, like, he's someone that, if you're an entrepreneur, he has to be on your list as one of the people that you look up to. And so she called me and said, like, hey, we're gonna bring MP for an event, and we're gonna do it at 13 Restaurant, and we need you to come in and just make it look good. And she was like, I don't know how we're gonna do it, but I know you're gonna figure it out.
So the James Harden 13, Impact 13 Foundation, growing that, becoming a part of that was your most recent event. Of course, many more to come in 2023.
One of my largest events, I should say. I actually have done other events after that. We did a private dinner for a local Instagram model that went really well. That one was at Kiss Restaurant, and that one actually went crazy online, but people loved it.
Congrats. Okay, cool. So how do you like to invest into other black businesses or into your black community?
Listen, like I love to bring anybody on. Like I love working with other creatives directly, whether it be something as simple as me supporting their event or bringing them in on my event. Even people that does the same thing as me. If I know that somebody I can call on to get a creative idea, or if they have a skill that I know they can rock and I don't have time to do it, like I love supporting other business owners, just people of color in general.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what advice would you like to give to the next person watching this podcast, whether that be, let's talk to the young woman. What advice would you like to give to any young woman watching this podcast?
Man, start today. Whatever it is, like start today. Like, and you have to just be unstoppable. You have to be unstoppable. Whatever those hurdles are, like never stop. Never let it stop you. Like blow through them. Start today and keep going until you get there. There will be naysayers. There are people like, man, this is gonna be hard. It's gonna be tough. But like everything is tough.
Absolutely.
Everything is hard.
Absolutely.
You might as well be putting that work in toward where you want to be in life. And so I just encourage you to like start today. And if it's something that's so not like you or so unlike what you're currently doing, switch it up.
Cool. Okay, well, this has been another episode of Pay Attention where we talked about legacy building, wealth building, of course, the Huff Puff event business where Miss Thashā Uche has literally revolutionized her brand in Houston, Texas, as well as branched out to other locations across the U.S.
Yeah.
But again, we talked about her being a success in her community, starting from an Instagram page to full-fledged events, live and in person.
Yes.
Anything else that I missed?
No, like that's it. That's it.
Okay.
We out here doing it, and I just want everybody else. I want people to be able to see me and know you can do it too.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
Where can I follow you at again? Social media?
Yeah, at Huff Puff Events on Instagram and Snapchat. All of the socials at Huff Puff Events. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you for coming out. This has been another episode of
No
Pay
problem, my
Attention.
pleasure.
See you guys next week. Miss Thashā Uche, I'm out.